talked about how to be a rat when we're doing our reading and our writing. And rats are really clever and resourceful and smart creatures. And so we want to be like a rat today while we're doing our writing about the bison. And so today we're going to be thinking about what that R-A-T stands for. So R stands for we read like a writer. And we've been doing that a lot over the last couple of weeks as we've been doing our bison research, haven't we? We've been reading to get information, but we've also been thinking about, what did the writer do to help me understand the message? And that is what the A stands for. We always ask that question when we're reading. What did the author do in the book to really help me be interested, to entertain me, and help me to learn the information? Because we know that writers do specific things to help us with that as we're reading their books. Today we're going to be focusing on the T in rat, and that is to try using what authors did in our own writing. And since we've done so much research over the last little while, we've been learning about the bison and their adaptations and where they live and what they eat and all of that information. Today's going to be a chance for you to share what you know about the bison in a little piece of writing. But when we're writing, we are real writers, and we want to do all the things that real authors do, so that when we show our writing to our audience, to our parents and our classmates and our teachers, we really want them to be entertained and interested because our writing is interesting, and we want to do some things so that they really learn the important information about the bison that you decide to share. Okay? So the last couple days we've been looking at this book called Bison. It's been one of the ones in our classroom library, and we've been looking at a lot of different features and things that this author did to help us understand the information. Do you guys remember this page?
Yeah.
We were looking at all of those different kinds of features, like the titles, and we really noticed some of the bolded words and these text boxes that are all around the bison explaining about some different parts of the bison's body. So I really like this book too, and I wanted to try to use some of these same features, some of the same things that the author did to help me understand in my own piece of writing about the bison. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you some writing that I did and show you how I tried to use what this author did in my own writing. And maybe you'll use some of those same strategies, those same features in your writing today. So are you ready? Ready to see my writing? Okay, I want you to look up here on the whiteboard here. I'm going to read you first. I'm going to read you what I wrote, and then I'm going to show you what I did to try to write like this author did. So my piece of writing is called, Why Do Bison Have a Hump? I'm going to show you this middle part in a minute, but I want to read you what I answered. Bison are herbivores, animals that eat only plants. In the winter, they use their heads to clear away snow. A bison's hump is made of strong muscle and bone that supports the head. And then I decided that I wanted, just like this author did in the middle, to give a diagram of a bison so that you could learn a little bit more. So I've put a few things in some text boxes here. Up here I said, the hump is made of strong muscle and bone. And I made another text box pointing to the head, and I wrote in my text box, the bison uses its head to move the snow. And then I wanted to label just a couple of other important features on this bison. So I labeled the beard, and I've also labeled where the tail is. And one thing that I learned in this book that I thought was amazing is that a bison can weigh over 900 kilograms. That is so, you always think bison are so big, but that is really heavy. So I wanted to put that interesting fact over here as well. So that's my piece of writing about the bison, and I wanted to just show you some of the things that we noticed in this book that I tried to use in my writing, okay? The first thing that I did was I wanted to ask a question. I was always really curious about this hump. Why do bison have that big hump on their backs? So I thought that would be a good title for me. So I asked a question, why do bison have a hump? And as an author, whenever we ask a question, we have to answer it somewhere else in our writing. It's like our promise to the reader. So down here, I tried to answer that question. I explained that bison are herbivores, they eat plants. And I said that the hump is made of strong muscle and bone and it supports their head when they're using it to dig through the snow to get at their food. So I asked a question, and down here in my writing, I answered my question. That's one thing that I did that I noticed this author did. Down in my writing, I had a really tricky word, but an important word. This word here, herbivores. So I did two things with that word so that you would understand that word. The first thing I did was I made it into a bolded word. I made it a different color, and I wrote it a little bit, the letters a little bit thicker so you would notice that word. That's like a sign to you saying, this is an important word. You got to know this word to understand the writing, okay? But because I wasn't sure if everyone would know that word, I explained what that word meant here as well. Herbivores, animals that eat only plants. That's what a herbivore is. It's an animal that eats only plants. Okay? So I've explained that word as well in my writing. That's something that I did on purpose as a writer so that you would understand what I was talking about. And then up here in my diagram, I did a few other things that will help you to really see some of the important information. We talked down here in my little paragraph about what the hump is made of, strong muscle and bone, and that it supports the head. But those are some really important facts, and I wanted to give those to my readers in a different way. So up here in this text box, I just wrote a little sentence that has one of those key facts. The hump is made of strong muscle and bone. That's kind of the same as down here, but now it's easier for you to see up in my text box. And if you notice, I have another bolded word here, hump. That's another really important word that I wanted you to know after the end of reading this. And then down here, the bison uses its head to move the snow. That's an important thing that the bison does with its head, and the hump helps with that. So I wanted to put that in a text box as well. There are lots of amazing adaptations on a bison's body, so I pointed out a couple of other ones here with a label, but I didn't want to write too much up there, so I've just put the word there so you would know that this is called the beard, and over here is called the tail. And then I just couldn't resist. This one isn't really about the adaptations on the body, but it's just so interesting to me that a bison can weigh 900 kilograms. I put it in a separate text box over here. Okay? So those are all the things that I did in my piece of writing to try to write like the author of this book called Bison.